Señoras y señores, tengan mucho cuidado, porque aquí llegan para hablar de lucha libre en esta arena, bandidos del micrófono. Rondan este territorio. Señoras y señores, llega hasta este escenario el coyote rápido, Jay. Y llega acompañado por el voluntario vicioso sin cinturón. Él es Cody. Y llegan para presentar de Rudos Podcast.
Welcome to the Rudos Podcast. I'm Jay.
Hello, this is Scotty Nobelt.
Scotty, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, dude, I'm doing really well. It's been great, man. Labor Day weekend, feeling good. Got a little relaxation. Got a little party.
A little party, nice. Did you get a chance to enjoy a little bit of the bubbly?
There may have been some bubbly involved, that's for sure.
Nice. Well, you were celebrating like the new AEW champion, Chris Jericho, who had a little bit of an issue with the belt this past week.
You know, there's nothing quite like be the first at something. You can be the first AEW champion. You can be the first to take that belt out of the arena, to take it home, and you can be the first to have it stolen.
Now, do you think it was stolen, or did Mr. Jericho misplace it?
I mean, there are a lot of shady people in this world who would love to have a championship belt of that nature, including yours truly, as I have no belt.
Now, can we rule you out? Do you have an alibi for your whereabouts on Sunday?
I definitely was not anywhere near a Longhorn Steakhouse in the state of Florida.
Can that be verified?
Indeed, it can.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
My alibi is my manager, Northern Belle.
Okay. Because
she can vouch for my whereabouts.
Oh, okay. You have a pretty strong motive to go after that belt since you don't have one yourself. So I had to be sure.
Yeah, true fact.
You do have an alibi for Saturday night, as you were over here at the Rudo Dojo and we were filming our AEW post-show live stream. If you missed out, well, it's your fault. Twitch.tv/Rudos Podcast. Follow us there so that you can see when we have our next live stream.
Yeah, or follow us on Twitter where you'll see us post the link for when we are streaming live. And our live stream, it was a blast. We had a couple guest Rudos on with us talking about the show. But you know, we've got something special. We weren't just watching the All Elite Wrestling show on Saturday night. We had a man on the street, right, Jay?
That's right. We had a Rudos Podcast representative live in the building at the Sears Center for All Out. That is our good friend, Rudo Ryan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Ryan, how are you? Are you recovering from your wrestling hangover this past weekend?
I'm so hungover, I started playing Fire Pro again. I just dusted it off, started downloading more characters. I've just been simming nonstop. I can't stop. I need help. I need an intervention.
Well,
I can't come down from the high.
I don't know what to say. I don't know if there is an antidote for Fire Pro Wrestling, other than, well, Scotty will just have to come to your house and rip it out of your hands, rip your controller or your computer out of your hands.
Apparently, I have no problem being a thief, according to Jay.
That's right. I suspect Scotty. He's very suspicious. So, Ryan, you were lucky enough to live in the Chicago area and be there for AEW and all of the associated wrestling events that occurred this past weekend around AEW.
We had a little bit of a mini WrestleMania weekend around here. There were crap ton of shows just running on the lead up. I mean, a couple notable ones. AAW was running their annual tournament, the Jim Lightham Memorial, on Thursday and Friday. I did not get to see either of those, in part because the Thursday fell on a work day and apparently ran really late, which is a problem when I have to get up at 6 in the morning. So sadly, I was not able to see that one, but again, just so much wrestling in and around the Chicagoland area. It was just, it's like I didn't even have to go anywhere near the vicinity of WrestleMania to get that experience.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome that you were able to attend. I know you saw some crazy shit at a number of events. Let's dive right in. Let's start with your first wrestling event.
So, the first wrestling event technically did not actually fall on this weekend. It actually was just a week before WrestleMania. Oh my God! I nearly called out WrestleMania.
Wow!
It's wrong.
Oh my God!
That's how big and important this show feels to me. You know.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to be in the Chicago area next week, and I may not come for your Fire Pro Wrestling, but you're going to get one flogging from the No Belt for making that reference.
Oh wow! Violence.
Yeah, violence really is forever. That's for the next show we'll talk about. This show is Black Label Pro's McWrestling on August 24th. This was run in Crown Point, Indiana, in a very, very tiny gym. It's apparently a gym you just rent out for practice.
A high school gym? How appropriate?
No, not a high school gym. A rental gym.
Oh, wow. So, very appropriate.
They just literally rented this thing out for the weekend. It's apparently their regular venue. I've seen one Black Label Pro show before this, which was mostly notable because that was the one where Marco Stunt fought Brian Alvarez in a battle to the death, as it were. This one did not have Brian Alvarez, but it did have Marco Stunt making his farewell to Black Label Pro in general. The big one I want to talk about, because it's going to be important a little later, is the opener, Gary J versus Alex Zane.
Alex Zane being one of the hottest acts after his insane, 630 to the outside from the ropes, the springboard 630 to the outside in the GCW Backyard Wrestling Show July 4th. Put him on the map.
That's right. He looked impressive here. Yeah, the 3 shows that I saw him at, I think this was probably his best performance because he was just flying like a madman without anything else overshadow him or anything like that. This was pretty much the Alex Zane show.
What was the craziest thing he did in the match?
I mean, he was diving right from the start. Like, he did multiple dives to the outside during the match. I think probably the biggest dive he did was he dove over one of the actual ring posts to get to Gary J, who had gone to the outside. And then very quickly threw him back in and hit a shooting star knee drop right on his back.
Ooh.
Like in pretty quick succession. Despite all that, he did not win. Gary J was the one who won with a forearm. And now we really got to talk about Gary J here, because he's going to be on this Black Label Pro GCW joint show that we're going to talk about in a little bit. For those who haven't seen Gary J, he is this super skinny ass dude. And the way I describe his wrestling style is he's trying to do a lot of Shibata and Ishii style strong style stuff. Lots of slaps, lots of hard, stiff strikes. And it looks really, really weird on his skinny ass frame.
Send him to the LA dojo so we can beef up with Shibata and the other LA dojo young lions.
I'll say. So because it looks so weird, you don't really buy this forearm he does as a finisher. This out of nowhere forearm that just ended the match.
So kind of a sudden anticlimactic end after Alex Zane is flying around everywhere like a madman, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was not a great stylistic matchup for him.
Dude, bony elbows hurt the worst.
That is true.
This is a fair point. This is definitely a fair point. Project Monix versus Aeroboy was a really fun flip fest that I mainly want to bring up because, not because of anything here, because this is my second time seeing Aeroboy, and this was a much stronger impression he left me than the one he left in when I saw him in Galley a couple months back.
Did Aeroboy do any hardcore stuff in the match?
No. This was purely a flip fest.
Okay.
No real hardcore stuff this whole show. Black Label Pro is a very family promotion.
Until they partner up with GCW.
Yeah, that might have been part of the problem there. We'll talk about that when we get there. But then we get to my personal main event. The actual reason why I drove an hour and a half to Crown Point, Indiana to actually see. We had Ray Horace versus Black Taurus. First time seeing both of those guys live, and they were easily the best thing on the show by a wide country mile. Black Taurus's physicality just fucking pops live. This match was awesome, and if you're going to watch only one match from this show, you should definitely make it this Ray Horace Black Taurus match. There was one minor flaw with it, and it wasn't really either the participant's fault per se. Ray Horace's strap just kept popping off constantly during the match, and he had to constantly go back to adjust it to keep his mask from falling off. It was pretty funny to watch.
That's why you get the good Velcro on the mask.
Yeah. The announcers were referring to it as a button, which I'm not so sure about. I'm pretty sure it was indeed Velcro. I mean, other than the mask malfunction, Ray Horace was pretty on point. And like I said, Black Taurus was just, as usual, one of the greatest bases ever.
Yeah, Black Taurus, man, so strong, very agile, and we'll talk about his work as a base a little later in that GCW Black Label Pro co-promoted show, Two Cup Stuffed. Overall, for that Black Label Pro show, what was your number one highlight?
Blood Diamond versus the Stunt Doubles, the team of Logan Stunt and Marco Stunt for the Black Label Pro Tag Team Championship. That match was memorable for a few reasons. Even though it is not my match of the show, I just told you the match of the show. Black Taurus versus Ray Horace, go watch it. But that main was pretty fun for a couple reasons. Logan Stunt's gimmick, if you haven't seen it, is that he's basically a pint-sized shooter. And at one point during the match, he just did the Shibata dropkick to the corner. Just straight up the Shibata dropkick, complete with the little arm wave thing that Shibata does, out with the trash.
Nice. I imagine Logan got some air on that.
Oh yeah, but not as much air as Marco did, because you remember how I mentioned this was a gym, a basketball court? So Marco Stunt, 1 week before he has to go into the Sears Center to make his AEW in-ring debut, just decides to scale this gym all the way up on basketball hoop and pretty much does a dive right off the basketball hoop onto everybody.
Crazy.
And then Marco Stunt's final Black Label Pro match ended in DQ because the heels didn't want to lose, so they brought a chair in and whacked Marco with it.
Man, what a way to send off Marco's stunt. That's pretty funny.
That was the second straight fuck finish. Because the previous match, Kobe Durst versus Warhorse, also ended in a fuck finish after Blood Diamond interfered in the match.
Oh, come on. 2 fuck finishes in a row for your main...
2 fuck finishes, that's right.
Oh, man. That's not a good way to end the show.
Yeah. Other than that, that Black Label Pro Championship match was actually pretty good. Warhorse really reminds me of like a territorial top baby face from the 1980s or something like that. And this match really felt like something out of a territory match.
Nice.
A lot of heel interference and stuff like that, but it was very good.
Good old-fashioned wrestling. That's your type of wrestling, right, Scotty?
That's right. Let's get in there and get some holds going.
Fuck finishes for the main and co-main aside, it sounds like that was a pretty fun show.
I had fun. So I think we are pretty much ready to dive into the main course here.
Yes. So, the big indie event of the weekend, Game Changer Wrestling teaming up with Black Label Pro, presenting 2 Cups Stuffed late Friday night. Man.
Mm-hmm. Live from the Grand Sports Arena in Hoffman Estates.
The place looked like an absolute fucking shithole on the video.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description of it. Chicago has a bunch of these indoor sports venues just interspersed throughout. And this one was definitely more run down than most.
Even the commentators were talking about the building, commenting on it. And yeah, on video, it looked like, I don't know, it looked like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah, it's pretty much where you'd have your killer just chasing down the last remaining survivors through this gigantic cavernous space.
I have a very important question for you. Did you get any White Claw at the show?
I did not get any White Claw. I just got a couple t-shirts. That was it. I did not partake in any drinks other than the coffee that I brought to the venue and had to leave in the car because they weren't actually allowing drinks inside the venue.
I mean, are you telling me there's a wrestling show where they have White Claw?
Yeah, they were selling White Claw. Happen? They were selling White Claw at the show, right?
I didn't check the concession booth, but I am pretty sure that is accurate.
Oh man, God, I would have walked to this show. I am a clawhead, man. I will fire up the White Claw on anybody.
Scotty would have been just walking out of the concession stand, arms full of his delicious alcoholic seltzer.
I mean, I drank that all Saturday night watching AEW. Man, I'll go like Stone Cold Steve Austin style on some White Claw.
Hey man, you got to get that White Claw sponsorship.
That's right, White Claw. We want to be hydrated by you on the regular.
I was kind of wishing I went over to the concession stand and actually got at least a little water during that show because it was hot.
Yeah, I can't imagine that place having much air conditioning. It didn't look like it really had any sort of ventilation on the video.
No, it didn't. But it wasn't just hot physically. It was hot as a crowd. Like, this was, by several orders of magnitude, the hottest crowd this weekend had. More than All Out. And we'll get to All Out, but I just want to put this GCW crowd over. But with one exception that we'll get to later. Like, this crowd was fucking ready for everything.
I mean, how can you blame them? You go into a GCW show, you're going to get some crazy shit. So let's talk a little bit about some of the crazy shit that went on for that show, because, man...
Yeah, let's just... I mean, you also watched the show. You were watching it on the live stream. So let's just start from the right beginning. Eric Stevens and Tom Lawler versus Violence is Forever, the team of Dominic Guarini and Kevin Koo. This was a fun opener. A lot of stiff strikes. It also provided us with the first injury of the night. Eric Stevens took a pretty nasty blow during the match and got concussed. He was out for the rest of the match.
Oh.
And according to a person I was sitting next to at all, who happens to know Eric Stevens, he was fucking bummed about that. Like, more so than most people. Like, this was apparently the first time in his career that he could not finish a match. So he was super bummed about that.
Yeah, you have to imagine he's in some serious, I mean, concussions, we all know. It very dangerous, very, very debilitating. At least he was able to not get a second concussion during the match. I mean, that's really what ends up hurting you, right? Is when you chain the concussions together. Yeah,
pretty much. Lawler was pretty much finishing the match solo. So as you can imagine, Violence is Forever took the win there. Homicide versus Ethan Page. There isn't really much to talk about that match. It was Homicide in 2019 versus Ethan Page. So let's dive right into the big meat. So we had the team of Los Beasts, which is Black Taurus, Chicago Superstar, Gringo Loco, and KTB versus Los Serpentines, the team of Aries, Laredo Kid, and Ophidian. So this was not originally supposed to be a tag match. This was actually supposed to be a six-way with Ray Horus in there. But Ray Horus missed his flight. So they pulled KTB out of the doors, ladders, and chairs match that we'll get to in a little bit and put him here and turned it into a tag. And I think this might actually have worked a bit better than the match that they were originally going to do. Like, this was the match of the show up until that point. Again, by a large margin.
Oh, yeah. Watching that match live, those guys were just doing some of the craziest, most innovative lucha shit I've ever seen. There was like the spear or something, or like an avalanche destroyer. I don't know.
There were several avalanche moves during that match. I have it on good authority. They were actually taking some moves from the PWG match. A bunch of these guys were actually in that hasn't really made tape yet, but it will soon. And when you'll see it, you'll be seeing quite a few of those same spots here. And I can tell you, we were fucking eating this match up like crazy.
The dives were insane. The pace was insane. There was some crazy stuff. I also really liked the replay someone showed of Black Taurus catching Ophidian on the outside with one arm when Black Taurus was standing on the apron. Ophidian overshot his dive a little. He was going to like skin the cat or something, and he overshot it. And then Black Taurus just with one arm reaches over, gently catches Ophidian, and then flips him back into the ring.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was about to say, I don't remember that at all, but no. That was, again, that's just another thing you could just point to just show why Black Taurus is such an amazing base. And I mean, the rest of his team, like Gringo Loco is one of the most well-rounded dudes in lucha, arguably. Just he can do it all. Bass, he can fly. He's just phenomenal.
And he doesn't quite look like your average luchador either, right? With his body type and his look.
No, he's definitely a Chicago guy through and through. We fucking love him. Like, I've seen him at 3 shows. He's gotten some of the biggest reactions on each show.
Are you saying he's had his fair share of the deep dish pizza?
Pretty, I don't want to say jacked, but he's in good shape.
Oh, right.
He's not like KTB. Basically, this monster of a man. I don't know where he lives off the top of my head. In Chicago, he has good fare of deep dish pizzas, and yet he can fucking fly. I keep forgetting every time I see KTB that this motherfucker can just do fucking moonsaults.
What was the moment from that lucha match that most sticks out in your mind?
I'm talking about KTB right now, and it was actually him just doing getting his shit in, doing that big moonsault to the outside. That's just like, that's the moment that sticks in my mind the most. And also, like, even the avalanche moves kind of blend together a little bit outside of a general feeling of holy shit. That's a match. This whole match is one that I just need to rewatch again. Fortunately, the good folks at independentwrestling.tv have uploaded the show. It's the first GCW show to actually get upload on that service, and that's probably entirely due to the Black Label Pro connection. So definitely check this show out if you can.
Let's talk a little bit more about one of the other crazy moments from there. It was in the
Sure.
Doors, Ladders, and Chairs Fuck Fest. That had a couple crazy moments. I mean, really, it was like what in the first 5 minutes, Shane Mercer picks up Logan's stunt and just hurls him into like what, the 6th row, 5th row,
something like that. Logan's stunt actually wasn't even advertised for that match. Like it was originally it was like a 6-person match originally, and somehow it grew to 8 by the time the match actually started. Yeah, it was G Raver, Logan Stunt, Shane Mercer, Jimmy Lloyd, Alex Zane, Black Christian, Kobe Durst, and Matthew Justice. I'm still undecided on whether this one necessarily tops the Lucha Trios match. They're pretty close, even considering what happens much later in the match, because this match was just like, of the 2 ladder matches I saw this weekend, this one was brutal in a way that the Young Bucks Lucha Brothers match couldn't match. Although I think the Young Bucks Lucha Brothers match was better overall than this match.
Some of the crazy moments, you had Alex Zane jumping off of the, what was it, like a balcony or something?
I'm really not sure what to call that. Was that Alex Zane? I thought it was Matthew Justice, who ended up like climbing to the top of that structure and then like started climbing on the
Oh, was that Matthew, or was it Kobe Durst?
Kobe Durst was the one who got thrown off it. It was either that or Black Christian.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah. So you had people flying off the balcony. You had, I think it
people
was
flying on support structures.
Yeah.
So that you could jump off of that.
Absolutely crazy. And then, unfortunately, G Raver suffered a severe arm injury with the botched spot of having light tubes.
Yeah,
on the top of the ladder. A botched, I think it was like a suplex or brainbuster onto those, resulting in him slicing open his arm.
Yeah, that spot like fell apart before it could even begin, really. That was like, from where I was standing, I basically was watching them try and set it up. The light tubes broke before they could actually do the spots, and then they fell to the floor. And just as I was starting to process this, G Raver is right in front of me, just like rushing straight at me, and I have to move out of the way. Which is the second time during that match that I had to move out of the way quick, because when Shane Mercer launched launched Logan's stunt into orbit, Marco Stunt, who was over by the entrance ramp filming things, just like immediately jumped up and started rushing over to check on his.
And rightly so after that.
Right.
Very reminiscent of Spike Dudley getting chucked into the ECW audience.
Yeah, Shane Mercer is fucking beastly. Power for days. He can get some wild airtime with his moves. He definitely deserved the t-shirt I bought from him at the end of the show, that's for sure.
Nice. And so you see G Raver running at you. Could you see him any blood? Could you tell that he was bleeding?
I saw the blood, but it really didn't hit me and how much blood he was doing until like one of the security guys was like, "Hey, keep it clear. We need to clear this blood off the floor."
And then you look over.
He was just fucking.
Right.
I looked down, and it's just fucking dripping on the floor.
Oh my god! So there's just like pools of blood kind of following him running into the back.
Yeah, it's not like pools, but it's definitely sizable drips.
Oh man, it looked really bad on TV. I was watching it on TV, but on the stream, I mean, you could see G Raver come down. He kind of hit the light tubes at an awkward angle, like on his armpit.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the thing you have to worry about with that type of injury is that you risk severing the artery that runs in your armpit through the inside of your arm. And as we saw many years ago with the Nick Gage injury where he sliced that artery and died in a fucking helicopter on the way to the hospital, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, G-Raver got really lucky there that managed to avoid the artery entirely. He still apparently suffered some nerve damage. There is a GoFundMe available. I think we'll probably have to link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, go check it out. Donate to G-Raver's recovery fund from his surgery. He severed some of the nerves in your arm. There's that artery is actually surrounded by a bunch of nerves. There's your anatomy lesson for the day, right there on the inside of your bicep, going up into your armpit. So, yeah, man. Unfortunate that G-Raver got injured, but at least he was okay. At least he didn't cut the artery because, man, that could have been real, real bad.
Yeah, they finished that match up pretty quick after that. Like, just as I was starting to recover from having to move out of the way, I had to move again because Nate Webb was coming down with Logan Stunt over his shoulder to try and get him over to the ladder. Wow. It was weird having just Nate Webb randomly be there, even though he wasn't wrestling. But I guess he's doing backstage work for GCW. So yeah, Logan gets in the ring. He starts climbing up. We built this city suddenly hits, and out comes Tony Deppen to steal the win, even though he was not actually in the match.
It's really funny.
That was really funny. I knew Tony Deppen was there. He was wandering around like half clothed outside. But
so Tony Deppen comes into we built the city on rock and roll.
Exactly. Yes.
Whoa! I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Tony Deppen is pretty cool. I definitely like his stuff. But
so
yeah,
what was the match that followed it like? I know things. The crowd seemed pretty deflated. I mean, at least on the stream, you could kind of tell that people were a bit in shock after the G-Raver injury, and it carried over to that next match, right?
Here's the thing. It actually felt like everybody recovered from the G-Raver then really quickly. The crowd got pretty hot after Tony Deppen came out to what was that drink called again? Oh my god. The White Claw.
Yes.
Like the whole ladder match was to get a fanny pack that Joey Janela had hung above the ring. And getting it got you a White Claw and the ability to book a match for Spring Break 4. So Tony Deppen will be able to book his own match. One only wonders who he's going to face this year, since he faced a dude with no legs this last year. Here's the thing. Okay, the next match after this, which is an ongoing feud in Black Label Pro, to what I understand. So here's the thing about Black Label Pro on this show. Hardly anybody even knew this was a Black Label Pro show. Warhorse and Gary J are Black Label. They got relatively tepid reactions. We managed to get a Warhorse chant going a couple times, which was cool, but there weren't that many Black Label Pro fans compared to the GCW fans, and the GCW fans were mostly just scratching their head at this hard-hitting, drama-filled match that was following this insane doors, ladders, and chairs match where somebody nearly died. This was not the match for this crowd.
No.
And again, it had that problem where I was talking about back at the Black Label Pro show, where just as people were kind of getting into it, starting to get behind Warhorse a bit, Gary J hits that forearm and gets the 1-2-3.
Yeah, I tuned out after that match as I was checking Twitter to see how G-Raver was, and I just didn't feel like the crowd was too much behind it during most of the match.
No, we were not. This was the only match that even felt remotely Black Label Pro. Yeah, that just leaves Nick Gage versus Effie, and God, fucking Effie. Talk about going from a dude who I never even fucking heard of to a dude that I absolutely want to see more of. he cut a little video that was posted on Twitter, basically in response to Nick Gage like asking when the match was announced, "Who the fuck is Effie?" And it was just like this super fiery promo where Effie is just running down the hardships he had to go through as an openly LGBT wrestler trying to make it, and basically comparing that to how Nick Gage fancies himself a tough guy who goes through tables. It's just like, I can't do it justice. You have to go look for that promo. GCW definitely posted it on their Twitter page, so definitely check out GCW's Twitter page. Find that promo and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. And like, even though I barely knew this guy, just him coming out there to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road just had me sort of welling up inside and making me really want to see him like win this belt off of Nick fucking Gage.
Hey, that's
as usual was still over like Rover in this building.
Oh yeah,
but everybody was behind Effie as well.
That's a true sign of a good entrance and a good promo is that you don't know much about this wrestler. You see him have the good promo, you see his entrance, and you're like, oh yeah, I want this fucking guy to win. Like, how great of a job of that is, on Effie's part, getting you and probably other members in the crowd behind him.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was astonishing watching the match too, and just seeing how much Nick Gage like gave him in terms of offense. Like, this was not like Nick Gage was on the defensive a lot more during this match. Like, normally he's dominating pretty well, like 70% of the match, but this definitely felt almost 50-50. I would almost give the edge to Effie a lot of the time. And yeah, they were just tearing through the building. Like, I probably missed like half the spots in the match because it was out of view because they were in the middle of the sea of people.
A lot of brawling, a lot of violence.
Yes, a lot of violence. Effie's torn fishnets were definitely torn up even more. Effie's chest. Nick Gage was bleeding like a stuffed pig.
Hey, when you face the king, Nick fucking Gage, you bring your A game. You got to bring the violence when you're going up against him.
Yeah. And Effie was tough as nails, too. He kicked out the vert breaker.
Ooh.
He kicked out Nick Gage's finish. Like, Nick eventually had to put him away with a choke slam right onto the steel chairs.
Effie's a tough man.
Yeah. I definitely want to see more of Effie watching that match, whether it's in Game Changer Wrestling or other places. I will be seeking him out from that.
Nice. That's awesome.
Like,
so
it was the perfect way to cap off this whole show.
That's great. So it sounds like you had an awesome time at GCW and Black Label Pro's 2-Cup stuff. Crazy event, some crazy stuff happened. It's cool to hear about your experience there firsthand. Let's take a step back and let's look at what the other company has been doing this week. We've seen what AEW has been doing. We've talked about some of these other indies. Don't say we don't talk about the bad 3-letter company, because we do. And I want to turn it over to Steve here to talk about what kind of petty, what kind of incompetent, what sorts of really awful stuff the bad 3-letter company has been doing. It is time for the Such Good Shit Award of the week.
It's such good shit.
So, Steve, what made the Such Good Shit Award this week with the bad 3-letter company?
So, I'm going to disappoint you just a little bit. I actually think it was a good week this week. Like, it's clearly not the best company in the world, and we have plenty of sort of extra... we have plenty of reasons besides the content to have problems with this company. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at when I say that, I think. But there was one thing. It was maybe a little over a week ago, but it's pretty recent. At a certain point, I guess you just have to kind of accept that your entire tag team division is garbage, and that your tag team title match at your pay-per-view should be 4 single stars competing against each other. I guess that's just kind of what you got to do when you're working with a company like this. You know what I mean?
Hey, what do? You've buried all your tag teams. You've completely neglected the tag team division. I mean, they're making Gato look like a masterful, old school Southern tag team wrestling booker, right?
Look, it's the wrestler's fault, really, right? So
it's their fault for not getting over enough, right? That's what it is.
Didn't grab the dual brass rings.
Or try to get, they were fighting for the one brass ring, but both of them are fighting, so they don't actually get it.
And that's why you use single stars, because they don't fight over the same ring. One of them cares and one of them doesn't. That's how it works in that division.
Man, it's true.
All tag team wrestling is a setup for a breakup.
Yeah, it's the setup for your Michaels and Jannetty moment.
Yeah.
Yes. So why not just have two people that have literally not tagged together at any point before the episode where they win the match that gets them the title match? It's perfect. It's just genius. Such good shit.
Oh, it is. It is such good shit. So there it is, the Such Good Shit Award of the week, presented to the Bad 3-Letter Company. Thank you very much, Steve. So switching gears from the Bad 3-Letter Company to the Decent 3-Letter Company, let's go talk a little bit about All Out and the live experience, being there in person, in the crowd at the historic event leading into the television on TNT. Ryan, I want to ask you, what was the biggest pop of the night at All Out?
Wow, we're just going to start there, huh? There were a few big pops. Nyla got a huge pop when she won the Women's Battle Royale. And there was the Orange Cassidy reveal. That's a better word for it. Yeah, it's not. Can't really say it's a debut. He was in the Men's Battle Royal. I think the surprise of him just being there in general at that moment just set the crowd into a frenzy.
How did they react to the hands in the pockets tope suicida?
I couldn't tell you because they were just still reacting just from being here. Like it was this pandemonium, as it were. It's pretty amazing to consider that was Orange Cassidy of all people.
So that's kind of a cool surprise that the crowd got. What did you think? Skipping a little bit ahead to the main event, it's been kind of one of the recurring themes that AEW has had to face, with Adam Page seemingly not quite ready for the main event, not quite ready to be the face of the company or the ace of the company. How did the crowd react with him in the match, and did they change? Did their reaction or their level of support change throughout the match?
Page's reaction was very interesting, because here's the thing: the crowd were actually behind Page to a certain extent. They definitely liked Adam Page. Of course, the horse entrance popped huge. Even though he was over like that, this still felt like Jericho's night. It still felt like his match that he had to win. There were some good dueling chants, but I don't think anyone was unhappy about Jericho winning the AEW title, whereas I definitely felt like, especially when they teased us with Page hitting Deadeye at the end, like there definitely would have been a lot of disappointment if Page had won the title right there.
It would have just not felt like the right moment?
Right, exactly.
That makes sense.
I definitely think that you can still have push Adam Page to be a top guy. But I don't know if you can do it in a year or even 2 years. I think you definitely have to take your time with Adam Page.
All right, well, here we go. Let's make a quick prediction game here. We're gonna go around.
Finally, getting everybody in here.
Everyone in.
I apologize to both Scotty and Steve just for soaking up at least a solid hour of talk time.
So here we go. We'll do a quick prediction game here. So I'm going to start with you, Steve. Do you think Adam Page can become the ace of AEW and be successful?
How old is he? I'm checking. 28. He's 28 years old. Yeah, he can do it.
You think so?
Oh God, he's the same age as me. Fuck.
And you're never going to be the ace, Steve.
I won't. You're right.
Wow.
I won't be the in-ring ace. You're right. Or any ace. Yeah. He's got enough time to do it. He's not at the peak of his talent yet, and he's already so talented. I realized that G1 was over a year ago at this point that he impressed in, but he has the in-ring talent, and he's cut a couple of the promos he cut on the lead up to this show showed something, and I think working in All Elite Wrestling compared to New Japan, he's going to get exposure to certain things I think he may not have had in Japan. You have a lot more English-speaking promo cutters, especially now. Like when Page was running around in New Japan, there wasn't so much Jay White, right? Like it was Will Ospreay was less of a force in terms of cutting end of show promos and things like that. So I don't know, maybe just exposure to Chris Jericho helps him out there too, you know? I think he's going to get something in All Elite that he may not have gotten elsewhere, and I think at the age of 28, he's got enough time to reach ace status.
All right, I'm going to turn it to you, Scotty. Can Adam Page be the ace of AEW?
I'm going to agree with Steve. I think so, and I think one of the points you made, I mean, for one, just being in an organization where there's more English speakers in general, but probably even more so, there'll be more emphasis on cutting promos, especially after they go to weekly TV. And, you know, they've got some other folks behind the stage besides, you know, you mentioned Jericho and some other people, but they've got like Arn Anderson working backstage now. They're going to add Tony Schiavone, who's another, you know, got a mind for TV. And I think
too.
They've got Tully. They've got people who are now working backstage with them in general, but specifically him. If he puts his mind to it and, you know, practices and actually works at it, I'm sure he'll be great at it. Like it's just a matter of time. He's got everything else you need. So
is this both of us sort of saying without saying that we think it's his promo skills that need work?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good enough worker. I mean, he's got really good moves and he works really well and he rides a horse. I mean, like, dude, what other guys ride a horse? That's an amazing move. But I think it's just more about the cutting the promo and doing some things to make that connection, because he's kind of in that like white meat baby face territory that doesn't work super great these days. So you got to figure out like how does he have an edge and be a little cooler. I feel like he's a little bland.
I'm in the same boat. I feel like he has the potential and he has the people around him to support him and help him grow and become that ace. You've got all of the backstage folks that you mentioned. Plus, don't forget, they've also got Christopher Daniels working with the talent. And Christopher Daniels is a very, very good teacher. I highly recommend going on YouTube, checking out the seminar that he puts on, and you hear him talk about so much of the little important things in wrestling. Having somebody like that to help mentor him along with all of those other big names like you mentioned, Adam Page is in an environment where he is definitely being set up to succeed versus another promotion like New Japan, where you've got the language barrier, right? And then going back to his other time in Ring of Honor. Let's face it, Ring of Honor isn't creating many new stars. Look at what they're drawing now after the Elite have left, right? I mean, Matt Taven, as much as I like Matt Taven, he's not a big draw. So in AEW is an infinitely better company for him to grow and to develop into that ace. He's going to have all of the support. He's got the tools. Can he put it together? Can he really get that fire behind those promos? And can he be a little bit better with the media too? He didn't look that smooth. Just looked a little shy in front of the media after the show. So that's something else he's going to have to work on, especially if he's going to be that ace level talent for the promotion. He needs to be able to go and be comfortable in front of the media. And it's not just the wrestling media. He's going to have to do it for mainstream media too.
I think something else, and maybe this is just a little bit I'm just kind of throwing some spaghetti against the wall here. But, give him a little bit. Let's see how he does. But then maybe at some point, maybe you look at him and say, hey, let's turn him heel, make him a little nasty, and see if we can develop some other tools in his toolbox.
That's not a bad idea. Ryan, what are you saying? Yes or no?
Yeah, you can. Again, he's got the support structure, pretty much the whole company behind him. Like, if they take this patiently and let him grow naturally, he could potentially get there to that level. Like, remember, how many years did it take? He went from Adam Page, the dork from ROH, to where he is right now, even.
Yeah.
Like, he only really showed up last year at the G1. That was his big coming out moment. This is going to take time to develop into something.
He definitely has progressed a lot since those early days in Ring of Honor. He was the young boy for the decade, right? I mean, under BJ Whitmer, that seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, I can still remember the reaction when he first joined Bullet Club. It's like, specifically when it came out that Gato was the one who wanted him in Bullet Club. It's just like, Gato wants this guy, not Adam Cole, who's actually friends with the Bucks. This guy? And it just really took a whole lot of time before. It was literally his last year in New Japan where he really started to show what Gato saw in him.
Gato is a great judge of talent. I mean, look what he has done with pushing all of the guys he's pushing Switchblade. Gato is a great eye for talent. So if Gato wants that guy in the Bullet Club, Gato sees something in him that has that sort of potential, right? Gato is able to see his potential and wouldn't be asking for him to come over and be in such a high-profile spot in the Bullet Club if he didn't think that Page had something that he could bring to the table, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we've talked a little bit about Adam Page and the main event. There were some really funny moments that have come out since then. We talked about Jericho and his belt saga, now resolved, the Tallahassee Police Department having located the belt. Let's kind of look...
No. Jericho found that himself within 24 hours. He is not only is he a world championship wrestler, a bona fide rock star, he is also apparently one hell of a detective.
Man, Jericho doing what, I don't know, the Tallahassee Police Department couldn't do, right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's Sherlock Holmes and then there's Chris Jericho.
Well, so let's take a look forward. TV starts October 2nd, Wednesday night. So what does AEW have to do now that they're going into television, right? That first episode we know is going to have a lot of viewers. There's going to be a lot of people tuning in. TNT and the other Turner networks have been promoting AEW like crazy. They've had advertisements during all kinds of sporting events, getting that crossover appeal.
We actually have numbers for an AEW event that ran on TNT. They did a little special, like the night before All Out, a countdown to All Out. Pretty much advertised last minute. Like even the week before, it was still unsure whether it was going to show or not. But it showed up there at 9:00. I actually watched it right before I left for the GCW show, and 390,000 viewers for that.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
On a Friday night?
They usually run Supernatural reruns during that. That does about 200K, so they nearly doubled the amount for a Friday night.
And Supernatural fans are rabid.
Damn right I am.
Were you pissed that they preempted your Supernatural reruns?
Oh no, I don't pay for cable. I don't watch television.
All right.
I'm in Canada.
That's actually a good kind of question. Hopefully their target audience actually has cable.
We still don't know what they're doing in Canada.
So they haven't released the television channel for Canada yet?
I mean, yeah, they're still they're probably still negotiating all that stuff. Like they only locked in TNT in July, was it? It already feels so long ago. And it's probably going to be ITV4 in UK, but everything else is a big question mark.
Yeah, Steve, what are some of their potential destination channels in Canada, are you thinking? The Great White North?
Good sweet lord, I don't watch sports.
I don't know, there's
Get out of here.
There's like Sportsnet.
Yeah, that's where WWE is, so I'd be surprised.
What's the other one? Does CBC Sports or something, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge of Canadian channels.
Yes, ESPN kind of. Like we kind of crib a lot of US channels, but not exactly.
Don't they have like a Rogers sports channel?
Sounds likely.
Yeah, I believe that's the other one.
Man,
really, Sportsnet and TSN are the two biggest ones.
Okay.
And WWE's on Sportsnet, so sorry, Sportsnet is Sportsnet. TSN is the sports network.
Just oozing creativity north of the border.
Hey, TSN was established by the Labatt Brewing Company, aka a beer company.
Very appropriate.
So we funded a sports network on beer, so what are you going to do?
There you go.
That's very Canadian.
So, Jay, I've got a couple hot takes on what I think AEW needs to do in their first episode. Want me to lay it out?
Do it.
All right. So first things first. Definitely have a couple hot matches. I know they've already got Cody Rhodes with Sammy Guevara planned, so I think that'll be a good spotlight for someone new for a lot of people in Sammy Guevara. They've got the women's match, the women's championship match. I think that has a lot of potential. And then they're going to do the tag team, start the tag team tournament, right? So it sounds like they've got
week 2. That's week 2.
Oh, that's week 2. They're not going to do it in the first episode. Okay. So I had that wrong. Scratch that. They don't need to do that. But the other thing that I think that will be kind of a coup for them is if they're able to pull off like one of those surprise kind of stunt moments, right? Where they have a big star who nobody thought would be there from the other company show up, do something. I think that's the kind of thing that will help get the, well, now it's social media buzz. I was going to say back in the day, get you to call your buddy and be like, hey, we didn't expect this to happen, and it is, and it's kind of cool. So I think that's like should be part of their secret ingredients if they can find somebody who is valuable enough for that.
One of the things I believe is announced for the first episode is the Kenny and Young Bucks versus Jericho and 2 mystery partners.
That's right.
There's a lot of, I think there's a backstage segment that got put together or something of Chris Jericho talking to formerly LAX, who knows what name they are yet.
They just went with Santana and Ortiz.
I guess so, yeah.
Countdown to All Out on TNT.
Right. Basically everybody's assuming it's them, and I think, Scotty, if you're correct and they've got a coup, it should not be Santana and Ortiz in that match. It should be some surprise single stars. I personally think one of them could probably be John Morrison, but who knows, really?
I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Then it's like one of Jericho's buddies, right? And I think it is smart, like, having the mystery partners not only to build a little buzz and to kind of prime people for the thought, but if they don't have that top flight kind of name, they can slide LAX in there if they need to.
Right. I believe when is the women's title match? Is that also the first episode?
Yeah, that's the main
yes,
event.
That is the first episode.
I hope so. I think the first episode is actually set up really well right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more interested in what they're doing after the first episode. Hopefully the tag tournament can pull some weight there.
Yeah, it's just going to be carrying them through the rest of the month. I don't know if they're going to do the finals on TV, though, especially since we have Full Gear right there, November 29th. That was the big announcement at All Out.
I think it's probably time to line up with that, yeah.
So we're thinking Scotty wants to see a swerve. Scotty's calling his inner Vince Russo. You got swerve, bro.
Yeah, man. Me and Vinny Roo are bros.
Wow. I don't know if you really want to admit to that.
Well, you can't pick your family.
So that's true. Now we found out Scotty Nobelt is related to Vince Russo. Wow. It's new kayfabe.
It's so kayfabe.
So let's look a little ahead to their pay-per-view Full Gear Saturday, November 9th, 7 p.m. An interesting choice of time. Looking at some of the other sporting events that day, they don't have a ton of competition for casual viewers. That Saturday, November 9th. Looking at the slate of sports, the main sporting event that day would be the LSU-Alabama college football game, no doubt a very popular event, and no UFC scheduled. So it'll be interesting to see if they intentionally avoid booking shows the same day as a UFC event.
Is the LSU-Alabama game at night?
Time is not listed yet. College football games, they'll usually do it like a week or two before.
Like, because this game, CBS can opt to put it at their normal 3:30 slot for their SEC game, but they get one or two games a year that they can do at night. It's a whole whatever, college football, ESPN, all that kind of crap. And they usually try to pick the big one. This could be it. That would probably potentially hurt some of the AEW viewership if you think they're going to be appealing to the old Southern wrestling fans like myself, because that would be the one event that might pull them away. But you never know. Like they're going to be much more established by then, I think.
Yeah, we'll have a month of TV under our belts, and we'll really have an idea of where this company is going.
Can I ask a hard question? What do we do if All Elite Television is bad?
Oh man, we haven't even considered that. I think at this point, most people are so traumatized by the bad 3-letter company and their awful fucking television that they are just pretty much assuming AEW is going to be good, or at least better by comparison, right? That's one consideration that I don't think a lot of people have really taken in.
I mean, it's very hard to think that it's going to be anywhere near as bad as mainline television.
Oh, you said it. You said the bad 3 letters.
Sorry.
Ryan, I'm coming to Chicago next week, and I'm gonna collect.
You heard it here
The
first.
mask is coming home.
Rudo challenge.
Bring it.
We'll put the swear jar. We'll have a swear jar on the pole match.
There you go. Winner gets the swear jar. And the mask. We'll put the Roosh mask on there too, next to the... Just tape it to the swear jar.
Well, you're going to have to tear that thing off me to actually... We're going to get me to put it up.
Oh man, that would have to be... Well, don't forget, you still have a mask versus hair, or no, was it hair versus hair? We still have an Apuestas bet, an Apuestas challenge that was issued.
You have a challenge. I haven't accepted shit, bro.
Look,
That's true.
I think we've discussed terms offline to some degree. I think we can come to an understanding. And you've got until January to enjoy that mask if you accept, so...
Just keep growing that hair, buddy. We'll see.
Wow.
I
Wow.
gotta get you a picture.
There we go. We have the challenge out there for an Apuestas
It wasn't
match.
a challenge! I didn't accept shit!
The challenge. I know you didn't accept it, but there is a challenge, but you haven't accepted. We haven't had the formal contract signing, so nothing is formal yet. Don't worry. I mean, even in Lucha, they have the contract signing for the Apuestas match, right? Like we saw today. And that's a quick... Let's take a quick look at the Aniversario main event. That was signed today. The 7-man cage match for CMLL's Aniversario. Friday, September 27th. Not going to be streamed live, unfortunately. But we've got Sieber the main man versus Gilbert El Boricua versus Negro Casas versus Ultimo Guerrero versus Big Daddy Yum Yum versus Volador Jr. versus Barbaro Cavernario. Real quick, who's getting their head shaved? Steve, who are you saying is getting their head shaved?
Sorry, who the fuck are you talking about? Shave the caveman. Do it.
Wow, shaving the caveman and his long flowing
That fits
caveman
the
hair.
gimmick. That fits the gimmick.
Ryan, who do you got? Who's getting their head shaved?
Man, who cares? We actually got a micro...
Oh, yes.
We're actually getting the Microman Shamul mask versus mask match at that Aniversario as well.
That's the true main event, is the Shamwell
true.
versus Microman mask versus mask. So what do we got?
That is going to be great.
You picking someone? You got to pick someone.
Shamel's probably losing the mask. As for the dopey cage match, there happens to be a certain name that sticks out. I mean, at the same time, Big Daddy, FKA Big Daddy Yum Yum.
He's still Big Daddy Yum Yum to me, okay?
Mm-hmm. CMLL has only called him Big Daddy.
It's wrong.
But they are wrong. But I will go with the official name. I think they're going to try and have him back more often. They've pushed worse people.
Dark Magic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still around. He debuted in a Grand Prix just like Big Daddy Yum Yum.
So you're picking him to lose his hair?
No, I don't think. I'm not. I'm not so sure. But honestly, at the same time, the only other obvious choice here, Negro Casas, and if you watch that thing, he is exactly that pro press conference. If you watch that whole press conference, he doesn't exactly have a whole lot of shave off.
It's true. He's shaved his head a number of times in recent years. That would be hilarious if Negro Casas had to shave his head in that match.
I kind of want to see it happen, so I actually go Negro Casas. It's usually the safest bet in a match like this anyways. And it's not like you're going to see UG or Volador Jr. lose their hair.
Yeah, Volador Jr. just lost his hair at last year's Aniversario. So, Scotty, who do you got? Who's getting their head shaved?
I'm going with Ultimo Guerrero and his lovely long mullet locks.
No.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, that is bold. Bold.
That is like that's too bold. That's like
You can never be too bold.
that's one of the two most valuable mains in the company.
Oh, wow.
Maybe just behind Roosh.
I'm going to go ahead and say Big Daddy Yum Yum. I'm not going to call him by Big Daddy. That is not his name. We need to use his full name, Big Daddy Yum Yum. Please respect Big Daddy Yum Yum and use his full name, CMLL. I'm asking you politely. That's what they need to do. And so, as we prepare to close out the Rudo's podcast, let's not forget our other award that we hand out every week. That is the Rudo Move of the Week. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Scotty. Scotty, what is your Rudo Move of the Week?
I mean, I have to say, to the thief who stole the AEW Championship belt from the legend Chris Jericho, you, my friend, have earned the Rudo Move of the Week. I know we've already talked about it a little bit tonight, so we don't need to recap too much. But to whoever the criminal mastermind is out there who thought, hey, you know what? This belt looks good around my waist and not Chris Jericho's. You, my friend, you've earned the award. If you want to see it, go check out my Twitter feed, Scotty No Belt.
Check it out. Check out the Rudo Move of the Week. It's got to be stealing the championship, man. Of course.
Yeah,
totally
it's
a
the
Rudo
most Rudo
move.
thing I could think of. Yeah, like really stealing.
Theft of the belt. So we'll see what they do with turning that into an angle. Maybe AEW will have a surprise belt thief come out of it. We've already gotten...
I mean, if Barry Darsow is alive, they should bring back Repo Man.
Wow.
Boom. Swerve, bro.
Swerve. You got swerved, bro. You got swerved.
Yeah.
That wraps up the Rudo's podcast. Thank you for listening. Steve, Ryan, thank you for joining us.
My throat is fucking shot after this. I've been talking
Mine's
for
fine.
a good... Gee, I couldn't guess why.
So check us out at Rudo's Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Twitch.tv/Rudo's Podcast for our live feed. Go on YouTube, search for the Rudo's Podcast YouTube channel, subscribe. Get our sweet Rudo's merch available at ProWrestlingTees.com/Rudo's Podcast. Support the show. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm Jay.
And this is Scotty No Belt. If you like us, remember to rate us highly. Give us 5 stars in your favorite podcast app.
Thank you so much, Rudo Nation. #Rudo Nation. #Nacion Rudo. Stay Rudo, my friends. Quédese Rudo, amigos.